Does anybody? Can anybody point out exactly what we did wrong? Let's get some constructive criticism
My
going.
personal opinion, I thought there was too many paladin builds.
Yeah, you thought that?
Yeah, that was just my
Okay,
opinion.
Okay.
There was no grouping up.
They
At
were
all.
fighting as a blob, and we were spread out.
So if you think that's too many paladin builds, how many do you think we should?
We
run?
shouldn't be
'Cause we
rushing
ran-
the point. Sorry, hold on. We shouldn't be rushing the point right off the bat. We should be right even as we get out of the fort. We should be taking that time to group up and push points as a whole. If not, kill the people and just rotate around the point. Don't even go to the point. Just rotate around as one unison of that group, and then worry about the point when we don't see people alive on their side.
So that was the plan. The point was to run through point with our melee DPS and our
Not
mages,
even don't even run through point. Disregard the point.
Yeah. So. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Like don't like they're gonna have people on the point. Like let them just idle there. Why try to run through them? Just run around it.
Like in
as
between
a
points?
cohesive unit.
Maybe go in between points.
Yeah. And instead of trying to make these fancy calls, I think we should just be calling out what it is. Like, I want people to be holding their AoE abilities for 5 seconds, right? And if you have it up in 5 seconds, throw it out. If not, throw it out when you can. So that way, even if they're on cooldown, it gets even more staggered on their end. I don't think making it confusing for people, even if like it's trained and debriefed. A lot of shit's happening, right? Saying spike is like saying whatever. We need to make sure that we're saying like grab well or like hammer abilities,
Spike is,
right?
Yeah,
Spike is okay, but like we need to make sure that it's clearer than that. Because in the heat of battle, it may be easier for you.
It felt
but
like a lot of shit wasn't actually happening because a lot of people are always dead, man. Like,
and
it's straight
I
up,
hear a lot of open commands, right? Big major commands, but nothing about like group up. If like even if you turn around and you see the group faltering and spreading out, like group up, like make callouts. If you see one specific person like diving a group of 8 people, fucking call them out, dude. Call them out for everyone to know their name. Because there's no shape up during the war. There's no like, come on guys, let's group up in the middle of the fight. There's always like, all right, let's group up at the fort. It's unnerving.
The only reason I don't like the group at the fort,
yeah, like we should be grouping up in the field. Like if you turn around, you see it, we're all faltering. Call out, group up. You know, like because even though that may seem like the call, or it should be like on everybody's minds, like sometimes it's heat of the moment. You know, we're all human.
Was the main body being decimated?
Hey, hold on 1 second. Bahama Mamba.
What's up, bro?
Or Bahama Mamba. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, what up?
I'm dumb. You said there was too many paladin builds. We ran 8 paladin builds with 5 tanks. Now,
I mean, I thought you had a little bit. I thought you had a little bit more. I thought you were running 12. My fault.
No, we had 8 paladin builds with 5 tanks. So what would you?
How much in gold for the healers, sir?
Yeah, I would say there was not enough. There was not enough healing. You can see that with the numbers.
Okay.
Like a lot more tanks. Like we need to have like 2 full groups.
I think I wanna to add like no matter what your build is, if you want to survive in war, if you want to survive versus the turrets, you need to be using heavy armor, even if you're DPS.
At least min-maxed to medium, because like you can survive
the
it.
armor the whole time, man. I don't think you need to have heavy armor.
No, you need to have heavy armor, especially
especially
even
melee heavy
meta, especially after this next patch, there's going to be so much more damage and so much less healing. You need to be able to survive, and you will get blown up by Void Gauntlet.
Something I noticed.
I was wearing full heavy and didn't see didn't seem to make a difference.
Guys, the heavy, like, it just doesn't do enough damage. It doesn't do enough healing. You can't everybody play hit. You can't
light
everybody
armor
play
damage bonus is bugged and
Yeah.
only
No,
gives
it's
you
not.
only gives you a 4% damage bonus.
It isn't.
They
It's
fixed
just,
the light
it's not
healing,
as, it's
at
not as
least.
much as you think it is, damage-wise.
Yeah.
It
20%
increases
damage
it,
is
but it
quite a
doesn't.
bit, man.
No, I mean,
It's
in
not
terms
20% damage.
Just saying
It's
it's
healing,
big.
but it's not
It's
20%
off your
damage.
base stats without armor, so it's not a full 20%. It's like 8 to 12%. Is where
Yeah, it's shitty math, but it's still technically.
It's correct, but it's not basing off of anything armor-wise. It's literally just base stats, everything.
Just shitty calculation.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone can agree on that.
Their whole backline is light armor, and they're
Yeah,
pumping way more damage, and they're doing way more healing. It's just
I
a simple
was
fact.
doing 2,000 damage in their backline. The problem is we just weren't like as soon as the backline group would go into their backline, the main force would evaporate instantly, and then they'd turn around and jump on us, so we couldn't do anything.
Being
I always had at least
in
4 or
our
5
quote unquote
destroying me.
back line, like I saw countless times of them just fucking just group like a solid blob. Six, like a solid 6 or 8 of them just rolling through
Yeah,
the entire back
time,
line as we're not grouped up, and it's not being addressed properly as well.
So
Like I understand, like we
basically-
should be able to survive, but not having that call up for everybody to turn and look for that blob of enemies and descend upon them as well, it's critical.
I say I noticed pretty much at all time, anytime that we'd meet them head to head on a point, they would have more people, more bodies behind our group than actually in front of us. And then, but most of our force is looking forward. Most of our main blobs looking forward, our front line. But majority of their forces are behind you guys, and actually, like in between you and our back line. I noticed this every time. They would send less people to meet you head on head than they would send around and get behind us.
That's
probably just the tanks.
Okay. They probably put just a few tanks in front and then have them healed and as a distraction, and then they sent everybody behind us.
Yeah, so I was playing a healer during that war, and what I was noticing was I was spending an awful lot of time dead. I couldn't get back to my team or keep up with my team without getting mobbed by like 6 dudes focus firing me, and then I would have other people just run by and watch the guy with the life staff getting gangbanged by the 3G axes.
They had really good call priority. They knew one thing that I super noticed was that they just know how to fight in a war. The second any of our mages casted a spell, 3 Great Axe people would turn off the tank, roll outside, and then go target that person. And if they couldn't kill him, they chased him out of the fight.
Yeah,
and then they would go life squads, life staff, stuff like that. They were really, really good at disrupting anybody who was not in the front line.
Yeah, I tried to follow your
all in all. The server that I transferred from, wars were much more difficult than they are here. That was a winnable fight.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree as well.
The turrets didn't go down quick enough, and then once the turrets were down, not enough fire launchers were dropped down. So like a fire launcher, you drop that on an AoE group that does like 600, 700, 800 damage a tick, and they can't out heal it. So more fire launchers, more turrets dead, and from what I've seen, and like the main force needs to be a lot tankier than it was.
Like we said.
Yeah, I thought we were doing good with the amount of tanks we had. Yeah,
maybe we need to be tighter while going out. You know,
the idea was
the hit squad was actually holding them longer than you guys.
One thing the hit squad noticed, that we noticed on the hit squad, especially when we came over back to the main force, was that they're really good at focusing certain targets. As soon as one of our mages would fire an ability, they would instantly have 3 to 4 people hop on them within like a matter of 1 or 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was rough.
That was also a matter of the melee.
So
Zerged by the tanks and their main force. Like
so in that situation, I definitely think so they had an edge on us position wise there, and just calling out the like the people using abilities, like you said. So what I think is going into them next time, because there will be a next time. Fuck these guys. That we have a tankier front line and we focus more on melee DPS than mages. Of course, we're going to have mages in there. But we focus more on like ice and like slowing them down with ice storm and doing tick damage, as well as doing getting them stuck in the ice walls as much as we can, and just letting our great axes know that when you see a healer cast, like if you see a healer cast, kill that healer.
Yeah, that's
Like
exactly
if you see a
what I
mage
was
cast,
doing.
Ice
kill
Goblin's
that
getting
mage.
pretty nerfed soon.
But they're buffing the
Yeah, no, it's being
slow.
nerfed.
They're nerfing the damage, but they're buffing its CC.
But yeah, but they're nerfing a lot more than just the damage.
I mean, I was testing the PTR. Its slows are a lot worse than it is now. Like on the PTR, if you get hit by an ice shower or an ice storm at all, you just can't move.
Oof. Yeah. And back to the basics too, right? Like how many purple wars do we watch lose because they hit 1 point, guys? Like fucking 10? Like hitting 1 point never works. You have to split their forces, get their comms fucked up. Like you just push 1 point over and over again and run into them. It's like that's never gonna work.
Yeah,
we had
what happened to your 15, 5? What happened to that?
The kill squad went to C, and
That's still only
No, I'm not talking about. Yeah, your strat for about. I remember the strat I'm talking about.
So I mean, realistically, so we're new transfers, and these wars are a lot different than the ones we had on our server. In our server, it was custom. You'd give up 1 point and hold the other two. Like everyone did that in every war, right? It's not like that here. And so in this server, we just got to test what works, and the 15, 15, 15, 5 didn't work in the first war. So we said, let's try something different.
Okay, I wasn't there for that one. So what I've been noticing is all the defenses, they play reactive, right? So if we send one big group over to a certain point, they instantly rotate. We need to figure out a way to have groups in between the points, like between A, B, B, and C, and somehow find a way to disrupt those.
Why have we never tried a fake out?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. You need to be sending more groups.
Yeah.
You need to be hitting more points than 1 point, man. I don't know how long. We sat at B.
Fake out can work
for way too long.
We should just have a group, like a blob, run to like a say C. Have maybe 1 or 2 groups haste there to bait out any haste pots. Act like we're trying to haste there, and then anybody else that didn't use their haste, as soon as they get there, just have them bait their abilities, and then immediately back off and haste to the other point. And just force, and then that'll force them to not be able to react as fast.
Yeah.
And I don't see any like baiting of like haste pots and those types of abilities.
So,
like just retreating is weird, but it's kind of like big brain in my opinion.
So here's the thing. I definitely think we have the PvP skill and ability. I think
it's not about skill, man.
strategies.
When you have, it's really not about skill when there's like 50 fire mages with ice gauntlets like spamming you over and over again at 1 point.
Okay. As I was saying, I definitely do think that our strategies could definitely use some work. I think we need to play more reactive, and from here on out, I personally am going to be planning more reactive instead of following a straight plan. I would like to talk with anyone who loves strategizing and formulate a group of like shit we can do in reaction to what they do.
Talk to a fake ego later.
See, I don't think it's an issue of sticking to the straight plan. I think our plans are all too macro. We need to really worry about if we do make a plan or talk about strategy that it's on a smaller scale and not just like at a top down like really high level.
Okay.
Everybody knows the plan. It's all about like keeping the morale, right? Hearing I'm dead or something like that. We need to keep hearing like group up, keep because that's what we did in our win for Windsward is we We kept instilling confidence and instilling comms. Like, dead comms is dead comms, right? Even though people know the plan, just saying keep pushing, group up, let's keep going around the point. This, that, and the third, just reinstilling that factor. I think it'll go good. I don't see that anymore.
We do need.
I've got another
Like,
comment.
just saying, yeah, that's it. When you see a lot of their people dead, like, just calling out a lot of them are dying, that instills, like, yeah, something is going good. We need to keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
Something else that was important. I just moved to this server a couple days ago. Something else that was important on the server that I came from is playing with your team. So not only did we often play with our teams during the wars, but we would get together with our team outside of the wars and get to know each other. And
we should be forming 5-mans. There should be dedicated groups.
One thing I noticed on this server, on our old server, every company would be hanging out in the Covenant Discord server. Like, we'd all hang out, we'd all buddy, we'd all get, like, become pals and stuff. And we don't see that here. Like, everybody else is in their own Discord.
I mean, that really hasn't played a factor in any of the wins that we've had so far, so I don't see how that really matters too much. I think it matters at the end of the day, like making sure the calls are there in the war.
Overall, the only thing that needs to change is just the basic game knowledge of the people in the war. Needs to go up. Like, there's mechanics that don't work the way that they say they do, and math in this game is really fucking weird, and in a lot of top places it doesn't make sense that things work the way that people say that they do, but they do work that way. And the light armor versus heavy armor thing, like, yeah, if they're in the back line and they're using light armor and they're rolling around, that's cool. They're not getting the damage bonus from it, and the amount of armor that you get from wearing heavy armor, and in particular, is far outweighs the amount of damage. It far outscales the amount of damage that you actually get from wearing medium and light armor, especially right now.
I don't know, man.
From my experience,
using heavy armor.
Come on, guys.
Only people that should be using heavy armor are CC using people. People that are only using like fire and rapier that don't have CCs shouldn't really be worried about it.
I mean, if you're like a rapier bow, like, and you get around fast and you're not getting hit, yeah. But if you're like someone whose job is to sit there and get hit, you need to be wearing heavy armor. You need to be wearing not only heavy armor but physical slanted heavy armor with opal gems, because it's the mages that are blowing you guys up.
Yes, definitely the mages.
Yeah, I want.
I think from here on out we need to be calling for that as well. Even if you're wearing like medium light armor.
The mages should be the new healer prio, because the healers cannot out heal the mages. Like, the damage you're gonna do to these light wearing mages cannot be out healed. Like, Shile and Devastating, those two guys need to die every single time they're seen. Agent TRL is in that war as well. I don't know how many deaths do those guys have. Like, fucking 3?
Not many. Yeah, Shile, like, Devastating, Atria, the biggest 3 mages right now on the server.
They're alive the whole fucking war, man.
Oh, the hit squad killed them a few times as soon as we saw.
And they're wearing, and all 3 of them are wearing full light.
Yeah, full light.
The hit squad. Damage. The hit squad. As soon as I saw one of those mages, like, that was doing a lot of damage, that was wearing light, I went on them and 3-shot them. Like, they're not a threat at all to the hit squad.
They're a threat to the whole blob.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, it's.
So I think this is what we need to do. We should have instead of a 10-man hit squad, right? We have like a 5-man hit squad whose sole job is to call people out that are a threat and take them out. And such as and do it like one at a time. Like, take Devastating out and then take Shile out. And
that's what we're doing with 10, and we're having issues.
Okay.
The problem with that is because of the new meta with the wars, where there is no more blob, peel, and flank. It's now just everybody kind of spread out in their back line type of thing. It's hard when somebody says Shile, in the back line. You're looking around. It's like, okay, where? Where is Shile? I mean, I saw him a few times. I tried calling him out, but it's like nobody was focusing him.
So if you guys remember, after the last war, this was something that was brought up. People were mentioning, like calling people out versus not calling them out. And I remember a lot of people said that they would prefer we didn't call targets out because it just confused them.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the war finished, the first comment I heard is someone go, "We should have been calling out more targets." And I think one of the things is, man,
you can't chase people around the battlefield just by their names.
That's why general callouts of just grouping up and pushing as a union should be it instead. Like the callout shouldn't be really killing; it should be like making sure everybody saves up lives. Killing is it. But
a separate group of calling out.
So the thing, so when instead of calling out specific people. It should never be like, kill this one guy in our backline. It should be like, we have people in our backline, kill everything back there.
Exactly.
Right? Kill everything.
Try that, it don't work.
We've been
doing that for the last 3 wars. It doesn't work.
It definitely does work.
I mean,
it's clear.
It's
very clear.
What
that the other
is splitting up and causing chaos in their comms. That's what works. Every successful war we've done, we've split up and we've owned either one point at a time and used the forces that win that point to then overrun another point that we're on, and vice versa. That's what always has worked. Like this whole grouping up on one point thing and fighting as a unit, it's just never worked, man. They have cannons, they have fucking AoE that they just put down.
At least not on B.
You can't even barely get to the back line with how much ice and hammer there is, man. Unless you run 30 dudes in a group into the backline, you're not making it to the backline without dying. It's just a simple fact. Like, you're not going to run in the backline with 5 guys when there's fucking 15 and 20 ice guys back there.
Say something real quick, guys? I also think it has an issue to do with gearing. I mean, I do. Garwood, you guys all know Garwood? He's a hammer guy. He just hit me for 5,326 in OPR. 5,326 with a hammer.
That's why you don't use light armor.
I'm not wearing, dude. I'm not wearing light armor. I'm wearing a medium heavy, medium or max medium. Sorry, max medium. I have almost 1,000 element physical resistance, and he hits me for 5,326.
He's using some sort of bug or some shit. Oh, you know what? He also did hit you with a back stab too? He's probably using rogue perks.
Dude, all I know
rogue
is
perk is broken right now, and it gives you.
He hit me for 5,326, and I've got max medium on right now.
That's why all of our DPS should be running rogue perk if they have it, because it increases all of your damage, not just backstab right now.
So I think we need to go even beyond strats and start looking into builds and min-maxing.
Yeah, that's what I've been for. My company, I work with my company to min-max, and I've been calling for. I had one person take me up on my offer to help them min-max their build, and that was Fallout Boy. And they're in the chat right now. I had one person. I had a couple more people message me about it, but they ended up never meeting up with me and doing it.
Well, if you don't have a consistent group, so you don't have consistent fives and stuff like that, then you're not going to have people who will consistently come in as min-maxed.
Like, are you also running like PvP faction gear?
Me? I've got a combination of gear. I've got a lot of ability gear, so like my abilities do more damage. They cooldown faster, stuff like that, and then they all have onyxes and diamonds.
You want Opal right now?
With,
you want Opal right now, eh? Not Onyx.
Right yeah, Opal is where it's at right now because mages do way more damage than a deep melee.
I think y'all are out-geared, and I just think they had the better team tonight, if we're being honest.
I mean, that was a winnable war. I mean, we weren't out-geared.
It was winnable, but not with the squad that we had.
Can I say one thing, though, guys? One of the things we really got to stop saying is, like, I heard everyone being like, oh, we were so close to winning, and like, oh, we're so much better than them. And it's like, guys, I think we honestly have to realize and objectively look at the fact that we are worse than them right now. We are not better than them. And I've heard people say that a lot where they're like, if just this went differently, we had it. Dude, we had 0 points in our war. We had a couple points in the Restless War. Like, we are not better than them right now, guys.
5,000, what the fuck, dude?
And I think that we really need to just work on, like, ourselves and get better, because there is a time where at Yellow we have been the better faction, and anytime PvP came up where it was even, we dominate. But that's not the case anymore, guys. I honestly think that we're behind. Like, we need to just work on things. We need to get better. Maybe we need to shift up our overall comp. Maybe our overall comp is what's hurting us. But we're losing decisively in all of our wars right now.
That loss was not a decisive loss.
Then you didn't watch the same war I watched.
Dude, they ran over us, but we had no
You
chance.
didn't get a single point. Getting close to capping a point is great, but it doesn't really mean anything.
But that's a loss. But at least we managed to not get camped at the war camp for 30 minutes.
That's the bar, is not getting camped at the war camp?
That's if a good if the defender
is not a
is
good attack. That's
if
not
the defenders are good, no matter what, you will get camped at your war camp. My company would fucking even groups that were like we knew were good that transferred over from Valhalla that were able to compete on Valhalla were getting camped in their war camp just because that was not a decisive loss. That was a winnable war. There were a lot of things that went wrong, but it was a winnable war, and it has nothing to do with skill.
We weren't even close to attacking their fort. Well, we got a couple points to 70%. At what point was it a winnable war?
The point
That's what I'm
caps
saying.
don't
You guys
matter.
saying
Point
shit like that
caps
is
don't
hurt.
matter.
Oh yeah, dude, y'all have
Hey
no
guys,
chance.
guys, arguing about how badly we lost is not productive at all.
No, but he does have a point though.
My whole point is we just
I
need
said
to look
right
at
after
ourselves and stop saying that little things went wrong and just say like we just need to improve. I did bad my past couple wars. I can openly admit
that's the same thing. Yes, there needs to be improvement, but it's in the little things and the specifics where it matters. You can't just say, "Oh, get better," without saying, "Oh, this is how you get better."
I mean, you need to gear up.
Well, I mean, I did say get better and work on the builds and start min-maxing.
I mean, like, one of the big things, guys, is we've said this after every single war that's
Thunder and
finished against
Shockwave?
these new guys, is how good they are at focusing our healers.
What does that do exactly?
We've come up with little plays here and there. It makes them take more damage after getting hit with Shockwave. We've come up with little things here and there to try to adjust, but nothing ever actually has been working or been implementing. I think that needs to be our focus. If we're actually trying to adjust anything with strats and things like that, one of the things we need to adjust is we need to figure out how to keep our healers alive. Maybe that be is we replace every single healer we have because our healers are dog shit and shouldn't be dying. Or maybe it's we need to adjust and help them more. But right now, that is our main issue, guys, is healing. And it's not healers, but we're dying. The healers are getting focused. They're getting one shot. They're getting clapped. They're getting CC'd.
Anyway, thanks for following me.
They're following calls to move up and things like that, and they're getting no one support. And I've also said this I've said this a few times. I don't have the solution. Let me make that very clear. I'm not here going like, I've been saying the correct way to do it and no one's listening. But I'm saying that we need to understand what the problem is.
Yeah.
And just as another input, I've gone into wars with full heavy. It doesn't matter. As soon as you're in full heavy, that means you can't get away. Granted, you might live 2 seconds longer. Hooray. Glad for you.
That's if you're a main force, that's your job is to not die while everyone else in the war does the things they need to do.
It's easy to say just don't die, but it's a lot harder to do when you have 4 fucking ice blizzards on your head.
I understand.
And you like literally instantly blow up.
I understand that.
We're just we don't have enough
at some point, like
guys.
I understand that, but like the server that I came from, turrets would die in 2 minutes. Every turret would be dead in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And what did you do to get them all down in 2 minutes?
Muskets.
Yeah.
How many guys?
Muskets was ruinous. Muskets was ruinous.
So we have a squad muskets ruinous. How many guys did you have to take it in 2 minutes?
Yeah, his Bash Bunny he's debriefing his guys. But
yeah, he's in another group right now.
I didn't even have an issue really with the cannons all game. It was the fire mages.
Yeah, just the very first part of it, but that's expected.
That first part of it is when it matters the most.
I mean, we're also only running a squad of 4 or 5 guys that have worked together on the muskets. Like, if you want 10 guys, we need to get 5 more that are committed to running.
So I was like one of the original guys who had kind of the musket idea. And when I came up with it originally, I was saying 5, and then we ended up going with 3. But like the way I look at it is once they're done with their job, they're just normal people. So there's no issue not stacking that force. So, like, I personally think I agree with you that we should have more guys on the musket team.
Yeah. Like the thing is, like, you can go in with multiple sets of armor, multiple sets of weapons, and switch while you're in the war. So you can come in with a musket set with Ruinous and then swap once you're done that job. And
also there's like animation bugs right now with Warhammer and Great Axe where you literally fucking freeze every time you use an ability, and it's tragic.
I'm just gonna jump away from I would like to jump away from the musket thing. I don't think that was what's losing you guys. My squad was completely new in terms of people that I work with. We still took between 5 to 10 minutes, but usually my squad, if it's not new, not optimum yet, usually take 5, and we're only sparing 3 people. Whether we want to increase that number to whatever, that's fine. I don't really. That's not the problem. But I'm reiterating what King said. That's not why you're losing the war. You guys, the healers are being focused. You have no heals. You're dying. The cannons are not causing that issue.
Yeah.
The cannons themselves also contribute to the frontline dying, and like it's one aspect. It's not the whole thing.
Yes,
It's
but
one
they are.
aspect.
Was that happening in this war? Because I'm gonna tell you, they probably were.
It was.
Okay, but let's just ignore the
backlines-
first 5-10 minutes of the war.
We have
The
to get ready for this Brightwood war.
The backline
So,
team would have taken C really quickly if we weren't getting cannons shot at us, like 3 cannon shots. Like we were dealing with their backline really easily, and dealing with them on that point, and would have capped it.
And you should. And I lost time because I had to go on A and get wiped out, and then go to do the cannon thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
true.
there
We
was
didn't even
it
have
was-
guys doing cannons in the beginning.
Yeah.
Something that I've noticed on this server, compared to the other one that I've been like messing around testing on, is another thing is like all our healers currently, I mean almost 95% of them are all in heavy. The other server that I'm watching, they're all in light because they can move around.
Oh, a lot of purple
Can I
healers
say
are
one
in
thing
light
though?
right now
That's
too.
like all the healers you guys are calling out. By the way, like Brisong, Jolo, Luke AD. For the record,
Yeah, they
all
all
of
wear
those
light.
healers are in light.
Child
those guys are all
I
in light,
tried
by the
saying
way.
this, man. We need more people in light gear. It's
I mean, I've been working on it for the next war. I uninstalled about 25 games off my computer yesterday, and my New World's been running a lot better since then.
more mages.
Really?
We need more people in light gear. It's just that simple. Like you can only beat their aggressiveness with what they're doing, man. You have to be more aggressive than them. Sending two groups into their backline, it's just not enough. You need to send 30 back there, all melee, great axe, and fucking completely CC them for 30 seconds. Like you can't do that with 5 to 10 guys.
It's gonna be even more important in the next patch because Void Gauntlet, they're fixing the int gems so that they actually scale with intelligence, the tier 5s, and so it's viable to go full in light armor, medium armor, just so that you blow people up. You can even I was testing like Great Axe Void Gauntlet was able to out DPS healer in any armor spec at all, period.
Yeah,
Like, you
right
just
now
blow
though,
the
ice
fuck-
is
blow
way
the
too
fuck up.
strong. If like we don't have like 10, 15 guys using ice, I don't know why we don't.
Yeah, you need a lot
I definitely agree with you right now until the patch changes that Ice is probably the strongest.
Yeah.
Like,
It's for like
it depends on, it all depends on what job you're having them do. Ice is the best job at clearing out.
Well,
like,
the ice
AoE
people
on
should be stopping their front line coming into our back line.
I agree. And that's one of the calls that kind of like not tilts me, but like I get frustrated when people keep making the call like get on point. And that's when that's why the last war where I was kind of shot calling, I tried to keep making the call out of like, guys, do not just charge point. Like let's move up together. Like let's move up together to point. Because what happens is you say what happens is people go get on point and half the group charges on point and dies.
They
Because only half
brainlessly
of
run
them
the point, not protecting themselves,
Yeah.
and they just get murdered.
And that's so common. And that's why like it's a little tilting when I hear that because it's like I see it going wrong every time.
Also, the thing is, the defenders have longer death timers than attackers do. And so the whole point, like, of the first like 5-10 minutes is you need to kill people. You need to kill people and stack those death timers up. And that was actually why we started getting scattered and like we're getting rolled so much. Is because our death timers got so staggered because we were dying and they got so long that we need to stack that. Like, if you want to win a war, you got to use the first part of the war to stack up death timers.
I agree with you too, and that's a fact I don't think a lot of people know about is the death timers being longer on defenders.
But yeah, that war that I watched just a little bit ago from the guys that I played with in beta, I watched their whole war in their Discord because they streamed it for me. Every single healer they had on their war was in light armor. Every single one.
Well, next patch, that's gonna be the meta. Like,
I mean,
because they literally are nerfing all of their
be the
healing
meta.
numbers based on the fact that they're expecting everyone to be in light.
They've been in light armor the whole time, they've told me. And the reason why is because they're able to get out of things. They're able to
Yeah,
roll
I mean,
out and move.
I'm a little more comfortable with medium, but as a healer, so I kind of stick with that. But still,
Well, next patch you're gonna want to be light. Like,
I'm trying to get it
Yeah,
set
yeah,
together.
they're
I still haven't,
definitely want to be light.
for sure. I mean, I'm making the move, but obviously, I'm increasing my armoring first.
Yeah. Is Crimp still here?
I
Yeah,
have
what's up?
200.
The one thing I
on
wanted to
me,
mention
by
to
the
you is
way.
you said you only had 8k health. That even
Yeah.
with heavy armor, that's still a little low, eh? Like
Yeah.
you generally want like at least like
11.
10k. That's kind of like what
I mean, I
see.
have
11.
12k as a 300 focus healer with medium. Like, I don't know what people are doing.
Use
But you
heavy
can
armor
easily.
Yeah.
My
If you're
gear
using
as
heavy
well is
armor
part
and
of it.
not
I
use
need to get my gear
con,
score up more.
Yeah, but the thing is with mages, we try to get 50 decks, right? So that's kind of where a lot of
Yeah.
our we want
Yeah, I
that
think
crit.
in
We
the
want that
context of a
constant
war,
con. You guys are only
dropping the
focusing.
50 decks is
You
worth
guys
it
are
for-
you guys are prioring 2 stats. We're prioring 3. We're not prioring. We're
I-
getting 3.
No, I get what you're
I
saying, man. But I just
actually-
think in the war landscape, because I've even gone to, I even tried one war, a 200 focus, 200 con build, which I don't even think is that
I
bad,
did that
to be
last
honest.
war. It wasn't great.
Like your heals are going to drop significantly, but your
that's the issue.
survivability also increases significantly.
Yeah, but I've
So
just
it's one
seen
of
some
those
of
like
the last 2
I think-
wars. You're comparing my heals after I went that route was still higher than some of the other people who are running.
I could read
exactly, McGracken.
So-
And I
Hold
originally
on.
That doesn't
did it.
really mean.
I
That
wanna-
just means you could be better, right? And you would be doing more heals with light gear, Megraken.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
that's why
I'm not
One
saying the
healer
argument.
had good
Like,
heals.
there's
Like,
types
just
of
because you're
healers right now.
wearing, listen though, just because you're wearing heavy with 200 con, 200 focus doesn't mean that
No.
like you're better. You're
Like I said,
better.
I'm running a medium build.
You could
and
just
it's
be a
still
better
surviving
player.
more and healing more than most of the people who are in full heavy.
But
and
I'm
staying
saying
alive
you
longer.
still have the same survivability in light gear.
Yes,
'Cause
I know.
you have
I'm working on
dodge
getting a light
roll,
set
you
together.
have-
I've already said that. I just don't have it together yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I want
using
to.
light gear is the play here, guys.
What's up, Ed?
The guys in the light gear, every single one of them were around 10k to 11k HP as a healer. The guy
if
that
you're
I
a
was
mage or a
watching was
healer,
11k.
you should be in
I
light.
think no matter what build you're using, you want like 10, 11k HP.
I definitely think you want at least 10k health. And the other thing too, though, Dabber, is like right now until the next patch hits, Dabber, you gotta realize that there's 2 types of healers. There's the heavier healing
I
side
think one
with
is
the light
trash,
healing
man.
and running
That's
around.
my opinion.
And then there's also the
Which one do you think is
paladin builds
trash?
who are better
The
holding
combat
the
healer?
The heavy healer is trash in my opinion.
But they're only trash because of how we're playing right now.
It's also
it's
positioning.
It's
If
got
you
to do
don't
with, like,
position as a
style,
healer,
right?
it doesn't matter what you're wearing. You're gonna die.
Well, like
Sure.
kind of. It definitely increases your survivability a bit. Like you can't. It definitely increases survivability. And if we're playing the type of game where we want to sit on point and have heals on point, the paladin build is really good at that. But we're not playing that style. We're playing this weird, like really spread out style where like no one's really in a good enough spot that just dropping a sacred ground and living is going to do enough of an impact.
If we can, I would like to try to get a few of the healers together and discuss a few things to help us try to get better survivability.
I'm going to be honest though. I don't think
I
we
want
should
to
do
say
too
something
much.
really quick.
Yeah,
I want to say just because someone said this earlier. The going for the 50 decks. If you don't actually get scaling from decks, I'm in a theory crafting. I'm in Duke's Lost theory crafting Discord. They did the math on that, and you actually don't get anything extra from it. You actually lose DPS stacking decks.
But you probably get more burst.
You
get more critical.
You get more crit.
5% crit.
It's
like
only
nothing.
5% crit. It's not that. It's not worth it. You get way more damage stacking in after that point.
You do. That's true.
So
I was told though after like 320 int that the amount of int after that it really is
Well,
diminishing.
that's anything, right? Anything has diminishing returns. In fact, you actually have diminishing returns after I think 100.
200.
Yeah, but the thing is,
I think it starts at 100 and it gets rougher at 200, and then 300 it's basically
every 100
negatable.
It's every 50. You deal with like diminishing returns, or you deal with spending 50 points to do absolutely nothing just for 5% crit. The alternative is you can put more into Constitution and survive longer and do more damage because dead people don't do damage.
Yeah, I mean that's where I go back to. It's either you want bursts with slight. I mean, gonna say if 5% is crit is still 5% crit.
5%, yeah, 5% crit is
still
huge.
Doubling it 5% on. It's like having a weapon that doesn't have crit. Like you're trolling. You're actually trolling.
Okay.
You're
want to
losing
use
your DPS unless it's perfect with the perks. Unless it's perfect with the perks, then for sure.
I think somebody needs to sit down and show the math. Like, I would love to see the math there, you know?
I would say, yeah, looking at it right now, if it's only 5% chance to crit, it's probably not really worth it.
Well, okay, what's your
It's
primary
not.
damage spell as
Look
a
at
fire
what-
mage?
Okay, sorry guys, I don't want to interrupt. I just like to note to bring away. I gotta go, but